Welcome to VLearn Virtual Learning Network. This is session number 10 of Personnel Administration and the topic is Role and Function of Department of Personnel, that is UPSC, SPSC and SSC.
Topics to be covered are need of Central Personnel Agency, evaluation of Department of Personnel, structure of Ministry of Personnel, training, administrative reforms, public grievances, pensions and pensioners' welfares. Role and functions of the Ministry of Personnel, training, administrative reforms, public grievances, pension and pensioners' welfare. Evaluation of Union Public Service Commission, Constitution of the Union and State Public Service Commission, function of the Public Service Commission, advisory role of the Public Service Commission, SSC, that is Staff Selection Commission, its genesis, role and function of SSC, structure of the commission. Now, need for Central Personnel Agency. The state today is no longer performing only the peripheral and regulatory functions, but in the perspective of the people's revolution of rising expectations has become a change agent, accelerator of economic development, prime mover of social advancement and upgrades of individual fulfillment and cultural enrichment. In the process, it permeates into various facts of the citizen's life. With the change in the purpose and philosophy of the state, the functions of the government have also correspondingly changed in terms of variety, complexity and universality. Due to the expansion of the governmental task, methodology of operation of the administration would have to acquire a new directions and orientation. To meet the legitimate urges, modernization programs and transformatory tasks, converting the old traditional administration to a development administration defined by Weidron as an action-oriented, change-oriented and goal-oriented administrative system concerned with the achievement of definite pragmatic objectives. In such an administrative arrangement, personnel is the most significant of the three inputs, the other two being machinery and methods. Organizational refinement and procedural sophistication cannot carry the administrative delivery system beyond a point unless the personnel working on the machine and manipulating the methods can be made professional masters of their work. Total administrative system vitally depends for its effectiveness and ultimate success on its personnel subsystems. Evaluation of Department of Personnel in a large and complex organization like the Government of India. The personnel functions of the central government used to perform by the Ministry of Home Affairs through its service in establishment officers' wings. In the discharge of these responsibilities in the Home Ministry worked in close relations with the establishment divisions of the Ministry of Finance, which was almost a joint management exercise. The Union Public Service Commission, a constitutional authority set up under Article 315 of the Constitution of India, played a vital role in the framework of central personnel administration. Besides making recruitment and selection through examination and interviews for the higher civil services and posts under the Union government, there were also some other organizations and agencies, constitutions with which was required for a comprehensive and effective management of personnel in government. This arrangement, which continued till August 1970, made for division of responsibility and amounted to a lack of unified central directions in a matter of personnel. This emphasized the necessity of personnel functions being handled from a central direction by a ministry or department, which should be a focal point of direction and formulation, guidance and superintendence, evaluation and control. There was a need for making this ministry or department fully responsible for not only the current day-to-day tasks but also prospective developmental programs in the context of a changing environment of the national goals and democracy
socialist ideologies of the welfare state. In Britain also, at about the same time, the Committee or Civil Services under the chairmanship of Lord Fulton suggested two major institutional changes. The responsibility for recruitment and selection carried out by the Civil Service Commission should be brought together with other functions of central management within a single organization. The expanded and unified central management of the service should be made the responsibility of a new civil service department created specifically for the purpose. Now visualized personnel functions of CPA. Formulation overall personnel policies in areas like recruitment, promotion, etc. Providing guidance and leadership to the departmental personnel agencies in personnel management. Hunting for talent and regulating appointment to key posts, keeping in touch with the process of the Bureau self-public enterprises, overseeing generally the implementation of policies and regulations formulated by the department through a system of inspections and reporting. Structural blueprint of Central Personnel Agency. To effectively undertake the above character of task, the following structured blueprint for the CPA has been suggested. A policy wing consisting of policy formulation division and policy implementation division. A career system wings consisting of an appointment divisions dealing with key appointments and cadre management divisions dealing with management problems of an IAS and centralized aspects of Central Secretariat Service. A development division for formulating development and training programs and inspection of housekeeping wing consisting of an inspection division of overseas implementation, a housekeeping division serving as the internal personnel office of the department. Now ARC's recommendation on Department of Personnel. The ARC's own recommendation is so far as Department of Personnel was concerned were as follows. A separate Department of Personnel should be set up with the full secretary in charge who should work under the general guidance of the Cabinet Secretary. This department should have the following functions and responsibilities. Formulation of personnel policies on all matters common to the central. Talent hunting, development of personnel for senior management and processing of appointment of senior posts. A manpower planning, training and career development. The Department of Personnel should not itself administer any service cadre. The administration of the IAS, IPS and the centralized aspect of the Central Secretariat Service should be the responsibility of the Ministry of Home Affairs. The management of the Indian Economic Service and of the Indian Statistical Service should be transferred to the Department of Economic Affairs. The new Department of Personnel should be placed directly under the Prime Minister's. An advisory council on personnel administration may be set up to act as a feeder line of new ideas and thinking on personnel administration. The establishment board should be located in the new Department of Personnel and the secretary of this department should be its chairman. Structure of the Ministry of Personnel and Pensioners Welfare. The ministry comprises three separate departments. First, Department of Personnel and Training. Second, Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances. And the third one is Department of Pensions and Pensioners Welfare. Structure. The Department of Personnel and Training has 6 wings which are mentioned below along with the brief outline of their functions. Policy and Planning Wing, Training Wings, All India Services Wings, Establishment Wings, Vigilance Wings, and the last one is Executive Officers Wings. Role and functions of the Ministry of Personnel and Pensioners Welfare. The department does the rule-making job for the various All India and Central services which include final interpretations of regulations in cases of doubt and also the overview of implementation and cadre management. The Department of Personnel control IAS and Central Secretary Service and look after all administrative matters relating to CVC, CBI, Administrative Tribunals, Union Public Service Commission, Staff Selection Commission and IIPA. The ministry during its own decades of existence has undertaken some important measures like opinion of voluntary retirement to government employees after 20 years of service and with 5 years additional service benefits. Complete restructuring of the pension scheme of central government which enables payment of pension and other benefits due by the date of retirement. The experiments of holding pension adalats and shikayat adalats for on-the-spot settlement of grievances of retired staff and other aggrieved. Evaluation of Public Service Commission. It was Government of India Act 1919 which for the first time recognized the need for the setting up of a Public Service Commission in India. It was of the view that an expert body free from political interference should be set up entrusted with the task of recruitment of civil servants and regulation of their service matters. In 1924, the Lee Commission again recommended that the Statutory Public Service Commission contemplated by the Government of India Act 1990 should be set up without delay with the following functions: recruitment of personnel for the public services and the establishment of proper standards of qualification for admission of these services. Second, quasi-judicial functions connected with the disciplinary control and protection of the services. The Public Service Commission rules of 1926 provided that the Commission be consulted on matters connected with recruitment of all India and central services, determining qualifications for recruitment by selection and syllabi of examination, promotion and disciplinary matters of these services, pay and allowance, pension provident funds or family pension funds, leave rules and conditions of service of these services. The objectives of the UPSC in broad terms are to conduct written examination and interview for the purpose of appointment to a specified group of civil services and posts of the Government of India, the advise the government in matters of framing rules in regard to methods of recruitment, principles of promotion, disciplinary aspects, certain conditions of services such as disability pensions, etc. In part Chapter 11 of the Constitution of India, wide Article 315, it has been provided that subject to the provisions of the article, there shall be Public Service Commission for the Union and a Public Service Commission for each state. The Union Public Service Commission, if requested to do so by the Governor of a state, may with the approval of the President agree to serve all or any of the needs of the state. Membership. The chairman and other members of the Public Service Commission are appointed in the case of Union Public Service Commission or a joint commissions by the President of India, and in the case of State Public Service Commission by the Governor of the state. It has also been provided that one half of the members of every Public Service Commission should be persons who have held office for at least 10 years either under the Government of India or under the Government of state. Tenure. On the expiry of the term of the office, a person who held office as a member of the Public Service Commission is ineligible for reappointment of that office. The chairman of the UPSC shall be ineligible for further employment under the Government of India or Government of any state. Conditions of service of a member of the Public Service Commission cannot be varied to his disadvantage after his appointment. Now, removal. The President has the authority to remove by order the chairman or any other member of a Public Service Commission if he is adjudged and insolvent, engage himself in any paid employment outside the duties of his office, he is unfit to continue in office by reasons of infirmity of mind or body. Now, functions of Public Service Commission. As stipulated in Article 320, the functions of the Public Service Commission are as followed. It shall be the duty of the Union and State Public Service Commissions to conduct examination for appointment to the service of the Union and services of the state respectively.
It shall also be the duty of the Union Public Service Commission, if requested by any two more states, to assist those states in framing and operating schemes of recruitment for any services for which candidates possessing special qualifications are required. It shall be duty of the Union Public Service Commission or the State Public Service Commission, as the case may be, to advise on the following matters: on all matters relating to methods of recruitment to civil services and for civil posts; on all disciplinary matters affecting a person serving under the Government of India or the Government of State in asset capacity, including memorials or petitions relating to such matters. Now, advisory role of the Public Service. The Public Service Commission are entrusted with important constitutional duties and obligations, and yet are assigned only as advisory roles. The nature of the Federal Service Commission under the Government of India Act 1935 was also advisory. The Public Service Commission rendered advice to the government, and the latter is under no legal obligation to act according to its advice. Staff Selection Commission. The objective of setting up of Staff Selection Commission is to rationalize the arrangement of making lower level appointments to the non-technical grades of the Government of India. The genesis of the Staff Selection Commission could be traced to the recommendations of the Estimates Committee of the Parliament. The Administrative Reforms Commission, in their report on personal administration, drew attention to the fact that the bulk of the staff of the government at the center and in the states belonged to the class 3rd and 4th categories. The role and function of SSC. The Commission follows three distinct procedures of recruitment: recruitment through written examination, where personality traits are not considered important; recruitment through written examination and interviews, where personality traits are not considered important; selection through interviews, where an all Indian examination is not warranted but a proficiency or the trait test is administered if necessary. Now, the structure of the Commission. The SSC comprises a chairman, secretary and 2 members. It has secretariats of 300 staff, of which 47 are gazetted officers. The Commission has a network of 6 regional officers headed by regional director functioning at Allahabad, Bombay, Calcutta, Delhi, Guwahati, etc. The procedure and practices adopted by the Staff Selection Commission as an examining and recruiting agencies are largely based on the system adopted over the decades by the UPSC. Now, there are some questions on the basis of this session. What were the recommendations of the ARC on the Department of Personnels? Second, discuss the functions of the Public Service Commission. That's it for this session. Thank you. Happy learning. We learning.